The most passionate commentary around. From pro to high school, Jalen's got the insight and energy you crave. Catch all the action weekdays from 5 to 7 p.m. on the Centex Sports Network, only on YouTube. Join the conversation and elevate your sports knowledge with Centex Primetime. Don't miss it.
Need video or audio solutions? Lighthouse Streaming, a full-scale media agency, can transform any event. Check this out. We're talking live streaming that's crisp and clear, event audio that hits every note, and church video and audio solutions that'll enhance worship. Corporate events, we got those on lock too. From concerts to conferences, Lighthouse Streaming and Audio makes your vision shine. Book your appointment now at lighthousestreaming.com or call 254-252-4206 for a free consultation. Let's elevate your event and light up the stage.
Hello, my name is Roy Gillis, founder and CEO of Lighthouse Streaming. Over the last 4 years, we've had some tremendous successes, none of which could have been accomplished without you, our clients, and our viewers. From my family and the staff of Lighthouse Streaming, thank you.
What's up, everybody? My name is Jalen Gillis. You may know me from Centex Sports Network. We're starting a new platform, Recruit 254. Our mission is to highlight the amazing student athletes of 254. So if you're in the Waco, Killeen, Temple, Mart, Marlin, or any surrounding 254 areas, follow this platform and join the movement. Recruit 254. 254, let's run it up.
My name is Emily Adams. I'm the marketing director for the Texas Asphalt Pavement Association. We are here at our third annual MAPS conference at the Waco Convention Center in beautiful Waco, Texas. I think the event has exceeded all of our expectations. We had an amazing turnout and great sessions and nothing but positive feedback. So this is our first conference in a convention center, and I'm used to working with hotels where there's like one person to talk to for everything. And so at the last minute, we realized we needed audio and video services. And so I contacted Lighthouse Streaming and Audio, and they were very quick to respond. They were able to, even though it was the last minute, they were able to fit us into their schedule, and they provided us with technicians and equipment to record our sessions, and we'll be able to provide the people who are speaking at those sessions with great video of themselves. I would highly recommend them. I highly recommend Lighthouse Streaming and Audio. I had nothing but a pleasant experience, and if we come back to Waco again, which we hope to do, I know I'll be in touch with them.
Hello and welcome everybody back into Centex Prime Time. I am your host, Jalen Gillis, getting ready to take you through the prime time topics in sports, not just here in the Central Texas area, but from all around the nation. We want to thank everybody for tuning in with us here today over on Centex Sports Network. If you're watching with us on YouTube, Centex Sports Network / Centex Sports TV over on YouTube, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Also, click the bell so you can get notified whenever we go live here, 5 to 7 p.m. weekdays, Monday through Thursday, right here on Centex Sports Network. You can follow me, as you'll see my @ down there at the bottom, at Jalen Gillis on Instagram. You can follow me on there. You can also follow the show at Centex Primetime on Instagram as well. You can also follow Centex Sports Network on Twitter or X, whichever one you decide to call it, at Centex Sports TV. And you can always go to the website, CentexSportsNetwork.com. Go on there and check us out, free subscription, to be able to catch all of the content here at Centex Sports Network. Well, folks, happy Monday to everybody out there, as we got a lot to talk about as we just came out of a great weekend of sports where we had Game 7s. We had the WNBA tip-off as they get their season started. We'll talk a little bit about that. We'll talk about some local sports topics going on here in the Central Texas or the Waco area going on. We'll talk a little bit about Baylor and some of the noise that they've been making. We'll talk some MCC, of course, as both men and women's team are headed out to the Nationals as well. Also going to talk a little bit of NFL here later on in the show, so stick around, folks. We got a lot to cover here on Centex Primetime, and we're going to jump right into it. Yesterday, we got a Game 7 yesterday in the NBA as the Oklahoma City Thunder took out the Denver Nuggets in a very, very convincing win. 125-93 was the final score in that game. Oklahoma City Thunder move on to the Western Conference Finals, their first time being there since 2016, right before Kevin Durant left and Russell Westbrook and all those guys and the whole team got broken up. Haven't been since then, almost a decade since they've been back to the Western Conference Finals. Sam Presti have been able to redo it again. He built another team. Like I said, they had to move off of KD. They had to move off of Russell Westbrook eventually. They moved off of James Harden first. Had a lot of talent on the team. Had to switch it up. Completely made the trade for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and that trade was the genesis of this run that we're seeing right here. Oklahoma City Thunder first in the West 2 years in a row now. Last year they were first in the West with 50 wins, 50-plus wins. This year they get 60 wins, 60-plus wins, get all the way to the Western Conference Finals behind the guy that I think is going to be the MVP in the NBA, and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. This is a big moment for OKC. Everybody was wondering, can this team get over the hump? Can this team be able to close out? Are they ready to take that next step? Because they're a young team. We're talking about a team 2 years ago that was out of the playoffs completely, trying to fight for a chance to get in the play-in game. And now SGA is taking this game to another level. The guy that, if I had a vote for MVP, he would most definitely be my vote for MVP. J-Dub, Jay Williams stepped up huge for this team yesterday. I said all along, this guy's got to get 20-plus points if OKC wants to have a chance at winning an NBA title. He's got to get 20 to 25 points each and every time. He can't be some games he gets 11, some games he gets 15 here. It's got to be 20-plus each and every time. Yesterday he did that, had 24 points, had 7 assists to go along with it, leading the team in assists, also had 5 rebounds to go with it. Chet Holmgren stepped up, 13 points, 11 boards, and a block in this game as well. He's been huge for them since he's come back. And him and Isaiah Hartenstein down low have been a revelation for this Oklahoma City Thunder team. One of the reasons why I thought they lost last year. I thought they could have went to the Western Conference Finals last year, but when they played Dallas, they just didn't have the size to be able to match up with them. When they put P.J. Washington and Derek Lively and Daniel Gafford and all these guys out there on the court, Chet was kind of out there by himself because outside of Chet and Isaiah, this is a relatively small team. We're talking about a J-Dub who was playing the 4 most of the time last year. He's 6'5". So now with Hardenstein coming in, it changes all of that. They were able to close out the guy that's won their last few MVPs, a guy that won a title 2 years ago in Nikola Jokic, who had 20 points in yesterday's game, 7 assists and 9 rebounds. For most people, you would think, oh, that's a pretty good stat line. But when you're talking about Jokic, a guy that started this series off with 40 and 10, 20 and just 20 and 9 is not good enough for Jokic. The team was battling injuries. Aaron Gordon somehow made it out on the court, even though he was projected to be out for a month with a hamstring injury. I think the night before, they said, Aaron Gordon's going to be out a month after the hamstring injury that he sustained in that series the game before. Somehow he gets, I guess the NBA tour at all is still working. He gets a chance to get back out there on the court, not able to help his team out much. Michael Porter Jr. was hurt this entire series. They said he would be out for about a month and a half with a shoulder injury. He played this entire playoffs with this injury so far. Jamal Murray battling some type of injury, not sure what he was battling, but another playoff series where he didn't come up too good. Christian Brown played decent for him. Only guy I'm really sad for out of all of this is Russell Westbrook, man, because not that I thought this Denver team had a chance to win, but just to see him have a chance to get back to the finals. He hadn't been back to the finals since 2012 when KD and James and all those guys were on the team. So I thought that would have been cool for him. But outside of that, this Denver team just didn't have enough. Nikola Jokic even had to come out and say, hey, I don't think we have all the pieces. They asked him, do you think this current roster is going to come back? He said, we didn't win, so how could we? How could we bring the exact same roster back? I don't know all the tweaks they have to make, but they got some tough decisions to make in Denver while we have Jokic's last stretch of his prime, I guess you could say. He's 28, 29, getting ready to be 30. He's getting older. It's not like he's in super great shape and somebody that can play till he's 40 like LeBron or like Kevin Durant or like Steph Curry and these guys. He's not that type of dude. Jokic is going to get in a really, really good amount of stats for a good amount of time, but it's not going to be stretched out 15, 20 years, I don't think. At least not in my opinion. I don't think he has any interest in doing that. I think he's ready to go ride horses and stuff, whatever he says he does. back on his ranch in Serbia. So I don't see him playing for a long time. So Denver's got to do something. Is Jamal Murray the number 2 option that you need? Those are the tough decisions you have to make. I know they won with Jamal Murray, but is Jamal Murray enough to be able to keep winning with these guys? We saw them win a few years ago. Since then, Jamal Murray hasn't had those explosive 40 and 50-point games like that in the playoffs. I know he always seems to flush the Lakers, but that's the Lakers. I haven't seen him do something like that to anybody else. He didn't do it to Minnesota last year. Didn't do it to Oklahoma City this year. So is Jamal Murray good enough for your number 2? What are you going to do with Michael Porter Jr.? He's making a lot of money to sit in the corner and shoot threes. A lot of money to sit in the corner and shoot threes. That's not my. I'm not paying somebody $40 million to sit in the corner and shoot threes like Michael Porter Jr. does. Plus, you're 6'10", 6'11". No post moves, no interest in driving. Just sit in the corner, shoot threes. Pop out, maybe a pick and pop, shoot a 3. That's about it. So, in my opinion, they got to find something to do with Michael Porter Jr. They got to find a way to get some defensive stoppers on this team. When they won, they had KCP. They had a Bruce Brown. Those guys played huge roles for them. Bruce Brown was playing the 4 sometimes. He was catching lobs, dunking. He's 6'3". But what he provided on the defensive end was huge, and they haven't been able to replicate that since he has left there. So they've got some really tough decisions to make. Oklahoma City Thunder moving on to the Western Conference Finals after they come out with a win over the Denver Nuggets, matching them up against the Minnesota Timberwolves, and I cannot wait to be able to watch this series. SGA, dynamic young player, versus Anthony Edwards. That's what it is. That's what we want to see. Not saying that they'll be matched up against each other, but those are 2 of the most dynamic guards in the league. They might both be on the NBA All-NBA first team. I would put both of them on my first team. Obviously, I'm putting Shea there. I think he wins the MVP. Anthony Edwards had a really great year, led the league in threes. I think this is going to be a fireworks type of Western Conference Finals. I think Oklahoma City, as of right now, just looking at it, I think they have the advantage. I think they're a deeper team. I think they're just a better team, honestly. I think they're a better team than Minnesota. I think they have guys off the bench that can provide a lot for them. When you think about Alex Caruso and what he's been doing, think about the Aaron Wiggins, Casey Wallace. Those guys have been playing huge roles. Isaiah Joe, who played a huge role in the regular season, didn't get much burn in the playoffs. He can still come in and contribute. Jalen Williams, the other Jalen Williams that comes off the bench, he can provide big games. He has some decent games for them just in this playoffs alone. So I think they're a team, probably the only team left that can go 10 deep now that a team like Boston is out of this as well. On the Thunder side, on the Timberwolves side, yeah, they've got Ant. Julius Randle has to continue to play at that high level if they're going to have a chance in this. Julius Randle stepped up in a huge way for them in the second round of the playoffs. A huge way. Really was the main reason they won that series. Kyrell was on there last week. He said Julius Randle was the best player in that series, and he was the best player in that series. He had a triple-double in that series, multiple double-doubles in that series, 25-plus points multiple times in that series, doing everything for that team. So if you got him playing at a level like that, and Ant is able to match that intensity that he had, man, Timberwolves are going to be a tough out. I've seen a lot of people trying to pick the underdog team and saying the Timberwolves got a chance to go. Now, Said, who was on this show last week, he said when the playoffs first started, he had the Timberwolves coming out. He said it was going to be Timberwolves and Cleveland in the finals. And I said, okay, I think that's kind of crazy. Now looking back on it, obviously Cleveland didn't make it, but the Timberwolves have just as good a chance as anybody to be able to get to the finals. That would take Anthony Edwards in a complete other stratosphere, in my opinion, as far as his stardom in Minnesota. Thinking about Kevin Garnett, he's clearly the best player in that franchise's history. Clearly the best player in that franchise's history right now. But Anthony Edwards is going to be, he's already got an Olympic gold medal, went to the Western Conference Finals now 2 times in a row. If he's able to get to a finals, even though, some people will say, I said this last week, some people will, well, if he gets to the finals, he's better than Kevin Garnett because he didn't get there. I'm not saying that at all. Kevin Garnett didn't get to the finals because he played Kobe and Shaq. There are no Kobe's and Shaqs right now in the NBA. None. There's no team that's even close to that in the NBA right now. So I'm not going to go that far. But if Anthony Edwards is able to get to the finals, that definitely raises the lure, that definitely raises his legend status in Minnesota and gets him a lot closer to passing Kevin Garnett as the best player ever. He's probably going to pass him in points because he's going to play a long time, and the way that scoring is inflated right now in the NBA anyway. So he's going to pass him in points. He's got more Western Conference. More conference championship appearances than KG already. KG got to 1. KG still has an MVP, something that Anthony Edwards doesn't have yet, but he's still really young. So Anthony Edwards still can build his legacy here to be able to pass a KG as far as that franchise's all-time leader, but still some work to be done. As of right now, taking out SGA, Oklahoma City is their biggest task. And even though I got Oklahoma City favored in their starting lineups, I mean, there's not a lot of gap. There's some gap, but there's not a lot. I see Anthony Edwards and Shea, as far as in the playoffs, somewhere around even. And with the way that Jalen Williams has been playing in this playoffs and the way that Jaden McDaniels has been playing in this playoffs, there's some similarities there. There's some similarities with those two. Isaiah Hartenstein, Rudy Gobert. There's some similarities there. To me, the X factor is a guy like Chet. Can Chet put up anywhere near the numbers that Julius Randle can put up if he continues to play like he did the last series? That's where those big matchups are going to be at. So it's going to be a really fun series between these two. On the other side of this, the New York Knicks versus the Indiana Pacers. Like I said last week, no, this is not Eastern Conference Finals from a 94, 99, something like that. This is 2025, and we got the Pacers versus the Knicks, something that I didn't see definitely at the start of this playoffs or at the start of this season as far as the Eastern Conference, two teams that have a chance to represent the Eastern Conference in the finals. Knicks, Jalen Brunson, you think about Karl Anthony Towns, they have the two best players in this series to me. Karl Anthony Towns, I still think, is a better player than Tyrese Halliburton, even though Halliburton, we see, can step up in the biggest moments. Multiple game winners, is a guy that can completely control the pace. I said he's kind of like a Steve Nash type of guy. But Karl Towns, when he's playing at his best, I think is better than Tyrese Halliburton. Jalen Brunson is the best player in this series. So with that being said, I got to give the advantage to the Knicks, just looking at it right now. I do know this. If the Knicks come out playing around like they did a couple of those games against Boston, they're not going to get those lead backs on Indiana. They're not going to get that lead back with Halliburton and Siakam and Ben Mathurin and Andrew Nembhard. All those dudes can hoop. Miles Turner. They're not going to get the lead back. This is an instant offense type of team when you think about the Indiana Pacers. This is a team that you cannot expect that you can come back on from being down 20 in the fourth quarter, being down 25 in the third quarter. I don't see that happening. I know Cleveland did it one of the games in his last series, I believe. I don't see the Knicks being able to do that. So the Knicks have the better team, but they got to come out and hit first in these games. They can't wait around. They can't come out sluggish like they did in the last series. And just being honest, the Knicks won that series because Jason Tatum got hurt. I know there's a lot of people that said the Knicks were going to come back and win regardless. I didn't see that. I see that Boston was going to be the champions still if Jason Tatum doesn't get hurt. But with Tatum's injury, the Knicks advance. With all the injuries with Cleveland, the Pacers advance. It's going to be a really, really fun series, and we're going to get new blood in the championship. We're going to get a new champion. There's been a lot of parity in the league, and for all the people that LeBron played in the weak East, that's why he went to 10 straight finals. No Eastern Conference team has come out of the East twice in a row since then. None. So y'all take for granted the stuff that looks easy for LeBron. This is a similar type of East. We don't see anybody dominating. We won't even see anybody getting a 2. He did 8 in a row. So let's put some respect on LeBron. But this ain't about LeBron. LeBron is in Cancun somewhere and enjoying his time off. This Eastern Conference, this is going to be a fun one, man. Seeing a chance for the Indiana Pacers, a team that haven't been to the finals since they lost to Shaq and Kobe in 2000. When you think about a Knicks team that hasn't been since 99, Knicks, one of the craziest fan bases in all of sports, as we're seeing now. I think the Knicks team, the New York fans got used to, the Yankees having some success here and there. They got used to the Giants, got a couple Super Bowls in there. They're probably all fed up with the Jets. No one cares what the Jets are doing. They're probably all fed up with them. But the Knicks is a team that the New York fan base has been waiting on. They haven't won since 1973. So most of the people that are watching the Knicks did not watch them win in 1973. This fan base is going to be crazy. I've already seen the dudes interviewing people in Spider-Man suits, hanging off of light poles, doing all the crazy New York stuff you expect to see. If this Knicks team is able to win a championship, that's my team that I want to win. If I have to pick a team that I want to win, who I think will win, I'll dissect that as we go by round. But who I want to win as a fan, man, I want the Knicks to win just because I want to see the New York people. They're going to call the National Guard. They have to call the SWAT. They're going to call everybody if the Knicks win this championship. They are going to go bananas if they go out there and be able to win that championship. But I like the Knicks over Indiana as of right now. This is just my early predictions. I could change this as we go throughout the series because as they start to play, you can see the different ways that these teams can match up with each other. But I like the Knicks in this series to be able to win. And on the Western side, I like Oklahoma City. Definitely not what I would have picked at the beginning of the season. And any of you that said you would have picked that, you were probably lying if you said you had OKC versus New York in the finals. But that's the finals that I think is going to happen as of right now. Who I have winning that, I don't know. I have to see how these two teams play in these conference championships. But the conference championships start on Tuesday. Oklahoma City versus Minnesota. Oklahoma City don't get much time off. Can Julius Randle and Anthony Edwards, those guys that's been resting, can they come out and throw that first punch in this series? I think Minnesota has a chance to be able to get this one in game one because Oklahoma City is coming off a 7-game series against the multiple-time MVP, against the finals MVP in Nikola Jokic. That takes a lot out on guys physically and mentally. They were able to do it, but that turnaround trip, luckily they don't have to travel. They played in Oklahoma City yesterday. Tomorrow they'll be still playing in Oklahoma City. So they don't have to travel, but nonetheless, still going to be a really tough task to take out a Minnesota team that's had a chance to rest for a little bit. So that game is tomorrow at 7:30 on ESPN. We'll break that down some more tomorrow when we come in here on the show. Folks, we're going to go into a quick break. When we come back, got to talk some local sports, talk about what Baylor's been up to, talk about some of the football kids that we're excited to watch when this fall happens coming up in a couple of months, this upcoming football season. So we got plenty to talk about here on Centex Primetime. Stay tuned, stay locked in. We'll be right back after this short break.
This is why you need Centex Primetime. Jalen Gillis brings the realness. Dive into the heart of sports with the most passionate commentary around. From pro to high school, Jalen's got the insight and energy you crave. Catch all the action weekdays from 5 to 7 p.m. on the Centex Sports Network, only on YouTube. Join the conversation and elevate your sports knowledge with Centex Primetime. Don't miss it.
Need video or audio solutions? Lighthouse Streaming, a full-scale media agency, can transform any event. Check this out. We're talking live streaming that's crisp and clear, event audio that hits every note, and church video and audio solutions that'll enhance worship. Corporate events, we got those on lock too. From concerts to conferences, Lighthouse Streaming and audio makes your vision shine. Book your appointment now at lighthousestreaming.com or call 254-252-4206 for a free consultation. Let's elevate your event and light up the stage.
What's up, everybody? My name is Jalen Gillis. You may know me from Centex Sports Network. We're starting a new platform, Recruit 254. Our mission is to highlight the amazing student athletes of 254. So if you're in the Waco, Killeen, Temple, Mart, Marlin, or any surrounding 254 areas, follow this platform and join the movement. Recruit 254. 254, let's run it up.
My name is Emily Adams. I'm the marketing director for the Texas Asphalt Pavement Association. We are here at our 3rd annual MAPS conference at the Waco Convention Center in beautiful Waco, Texas. I think the event has exceeded all of our expectations. We had an amazing turnout and great sessions and nothing but positive feedback. So this is our first conference in a convention center, and I'm used to working with hotels where there's like one person to talk to for everything. And so at the last minute, we realized we needed audio and video services. And so I contacted Lighthouse Streaming and Audio, and they were very quick to respond. They were able to, even though it was the last minute, they were able to fit us into their schedule, and they provided us with technicians and equipment to record our sessions, and we'll be able to provide the people who are speaking at those sessions with great video of themselves. I would highly recommend them. I highly recommend Lighthouse Streaming and Audio. I had nothing but a pleasant experience, and if we come back to Waco again, which we hope to do, I know I'll be in touch with them.
Hello, my name is Roy Gillis, CEO of Lighthouse Streaming, and you're watching Centex Sports Network.
Hello and welcome back into Centex Prime Time. Jalen Gillis still here as we get into the second hour of the show here today. I want to thank everybody for tuning in with us over on YouTube, Centex Sports Network / Centex Sports TV. You can check us out there. You can always hit that subscribe button as well and click the bell so you can get notified when we go live here. Also, you can watch with us on the website, CentexSportsNetwork.com. Free subscription to be able to catch all the information and action that we put out there as well. Folks, just got done wrapping up talking about the two conference finals opponents, as in the Western Conference, Oklahoma City taking on Minnesota tomorrow at 7:30 on ESPN. On Wednesday, we'll get the Knicks and the Pacers on the Eastern Conference side on TNT. That game will be on Wednesday night as well. Want to dive into some local topics here on the show today, folks. What is going on here in the Waco area as far as sports news? Want to talk a little bit about that. First off, I want to shout out to a player that I watched the last couple of years at La Vega High School, talking about their women's basketball program that does phenomenal every single year. Lasia Good committing to Prairie View A&M University. Always like to see when our kids can stay at HBCU and get to play at a really great program like Prairie View A&M. So definitely shout out to Lasia Good for that. MCC softball and baseball, two teams that you guys got to watch right here on Centex Sports Network for the last few months, are both heading to the national tournament, as the softball team will be playing on Thursday, I believe. They'll be playing on Thursday. MCC softball trying to get back to that championship game. Got all the way to the national championship game last year. Were not able to come out successful in that championship game, but a lot of experience for Coach Chris Berry over the last few years, a lot of experience winning, trying to get over that hump, and I think this is the year that the MCC team will be able to do that. On the men's side, they win the regional tournament last week as they go off to nationals as well, at a chance to compete for another title. We know MCC baseball team won just a few years back, trying to get back to that same status once again as the NJCAA national champions. We'll be keeping up with them all week long, and as they go throughout the tournament, we'll be keeping up with them on Centex Primetime. Of course, as always, Midway softball team, Midway Panthers, my alma mater, high school I went to. The softball team is headed to the regional finals to play against Flower Mound. That game is going to be on Thursday when they'll play, I think that evening, I believe, where they'll take on Flower Mound. This Midway team's got a 29-2 record on the year. So they've been phenomenal all year long. Now trying to go a little bit further in the playoffs as they head to the regional finals to take on a really good Flower Mound team. So I'll definitely be in support of my alma mater and those Midway Panthers, man, hoping they'll be able to not only win on Thursday, but to be able to keep going, get all the way to the finals in a game that I will definitely try to be at if I can't be at this one on Thursday. But they'll be playing against Flower Mound on Thursday. Believe it's 7 o'clock, but I'm not exactly sure about the time, but they will be playing on Thursday as well. Want to look over at some of the players that we expect to do good on Friday Night Lights. Last year, we got a chance to cover a little bit of La Vega football on the radio, but we kept up with every team here in the Central Texas area, especially here on Centex Primetime. Some of those players that we expect to do good next year, some of those players that we'll be looking out for next year. One of them is one that I got to cover for a majority of the season last year and going into the playoffs in high school football as well. And that's Courtney Parr, the young quarterback out of La Vega High School who had a really, really good sophomore season, did not start the season starting, won that starting job throughout the season, and, man, he took off once he won that starting job. I think back to the state semifinals game where he really shined and came up big for his team, made all the throws, looked like a D1 prospect, a guy that I could see playing Power 4 football at the quarterback position. And this is what he looked like as a sophomore. So I can only imagine as time goes on, him going into his junior year, the hard work that I know that staff is going to put in with him. Man, how dangerous can this La Vega Pirates team be coming out of the offseason this year, going into this 2025 season? They got all the way to the state championship game in a year that a lot of people didn't have them getting to the state championship. I mean, I talked to guys from around the city all throughout football season, and they were saying, this is one of those years La Vega might have a down year, or they might not have that good of a team this year because they were playing teams that were above their conference level, and they were losing to those teams. And so people thought, oh, maybe this La Vega team is just not that good. No, they're playing against 5A teams. They're playing against number one top 5 teams in 4A Division I. And that's why they lost a couple of those games. As the season progressed, this team got better and better. A large part of that was due to the play of Courtney Parr. So I'm really, really excited to be able to watch him going into next year. Another young quarterback that I'm excited to watch that played in the sophomore year, Savoy Nichols at University. This is a kid that progressed throughout the season, just like we talked about with Courtney. Got better and better each and every week. And he's got big-time targets to be able to throw to out there, like the Baylor University commit in London Smith. So I'm expecting big things out of him this coming up season as well. Expecting big things out of this University team. We got to talk with the head coach of University just a couple of weeks ago right here on Centex Primetime. Talked about all the talent that they've got coming back on this team. This is going to be a really dangerous team going into next year. I cannot wait to be able to watch them. They just had their spring game, I believe, last week. They looked really good in the spring game. Obviously, that's a spring game. You're just playing against each other. I get that. But the team did look really good out there just playing against each other. The young quarterback, Savoy Nichols, looked really good in that spring game. So I'm excited to see his progression and his University team's progression. We talked with the head coach of University a week ago, like I said, and we talked about being able to close out that deal and win some more playoff games. They know that. He knows that. They want to be able to get further and further in the playoffs. It's not enough for them to just make the playoffs, as Coach was saying. They want to be able to do something when they get to the playoffs. So I'm excited to be able to watch this University team that's right up there as the most talented team in Waco. If not the most talented team, they're right up there with any other team that you want to throw out there. La Vega's got a lot of talent. Midway's got a lot of talent as well. China Springs got some talent. So there's a lot of talented teams in this Central Texas area. But University's right up there with any of them. So I'm super, super excited to be able to watch those guys going forward. And Savoy is one of those players I'll be looking out for. Another one of those players, Lathan Wysenton, the running back out of Midway, my former high school alumni there. Like I said a second ago, I'm excited to watch him as well. This is a kid that's got a lot of offers, that had a really good year last year, but over the last few months, he's picked up a lot of big offers. He's got offers from, of course, Baylor. He's had that offer for, I believe, over a year now. But he's got offers from Ole Miss. He's got offers from Oregon. He's got offers from Wisconsin and A&M, different schools like that. I'm excited to see what this kid can do, man. I'm always excited to watch Midway football as they got a lot better. And, of course, my nephew was on that team as well, be playing football, playing receiver for them like he did last year on varsity. But I'm excited to watch this Midway team, and Lathan Wysenton is one of those kids that I'm looking for is to step up, one of those best players in the city. We know about the London Smith. We know about the Jamarian Vincent over at Conley, super electric athlete as well. We know what some of those different guys can do. Now it's time to see what some of these newer, younger players are coming up and stepping up are going to be able to do. Lathan Wysenton, I think one of those kids that can do it. And then a kid coming back for his senior year, Evan Marino over at Robinson. This is a kid that each and every week, when you check the standings, check the stats, the stat leaders for the Central Texas area, each and every week, somebody that was putting up crazy numbers every single week running the football, and that was Evan Marino over at Robinson. He played phenomenal football last year for Robinson, had them ranked in the state at one point. They were a top 6 team, I believe, in the state last year. A lot of that due to Evan Marino and his play. So I'm definitely really, really excited to be able to watch them next year and to see how they'll be able to progress next year and to see what kind of stats these guys could put up each and every night. Last year during football season, we closed out Friday nights by talking about the different teams and what different guys did across the city of Waco. I'm excited to be able to do that again this year and to talk about that. So I'll be looking in for those are just 4 players to talk about right now. As we get further and further throughout the summer, obviously we'll talk more and more about different guys, some more about these programs. We'll get some more of these coaches from the schools to come up here and talk about some of these players, not only the ones that we know, but maybe talk about a couple of guys that aren't on our radar right away. Because that happens every single year. I think back to when I was covering Conley High School and their football program, and they had just graduated a really, really good running back in Javion Sunday, and kind of had almost a gap year in between there. And I'm like, all right, who's going to take over the reins now and be that star back coming out of the backfield? Because that's what we just got used to watching. And then along comes a kid named Trey Wisner that came in there and scored 4 or 5 touchdowns in week 1. And I'm looking like, wait a second, who is this guy? He wasn't in my notes. He wasn't in any of that stuff. And he looks like the most electric player on the entire field. And obviously we saw what he was able to do at his time at Conley. He transferred. We saw what he was able to do at DeSoto. Now we're watching him on Saturdays, what he was able to do all the way through the playoffs as a Texas Longhorn. So each and every year there's one of those guys that just aren't on our radar to start and end up blossoming into a great player. I'm excited to be able to watch some of these guys do that in this upcoming football season here as well. In some Baylor football news, the Baylor Bears here, who had a great season last year, closed out the season really, really well for Baylor, something I didn't expect them to do. I'll just be honest, after those first few weeks, I thought maybe this was going to be a down year for Baylor. Not that I didn't think they were talented, but it just wasn't showing up on the field It just wasn't showing up on the field right away. But as the season progressed, we started to see, hey, this Baylor team is serious. This Baylor team is a team that you're going to have to deal with as they get further and further throughout the season, and got right up there almost to have a chance to be able to win the Big 12 as they got closer throughout the season. Large part of that was due to the quarterback change. They started DeQuan Finn, who came in from Toledo, had a lot of expectations on what he was going to be able to do. Wasn't able to live up to those expectations partly because of injuries. Health played a part in that, and why DeQuan Finn couldn't step up and take over and be that dynamic quarterback that we thought he was going to be. But another part of that was the great play of Sawyer Robertson. Sawyer Robertson came in, obviously, to transfer over from Auburn, I believe, came in here. The transfer from Mississippi State, I believe, transferred in here a couple of years ago. Wasn't expected to be the starter going into last year. Ended up being the starter. Ended up playing great. Sawyer Robertson right now is named a top 10 Heisman favorite by CBS Sports as they put out a list with their top 10 guys for the Heisman to win the Heisman Trophy next year. And, this doesn't mean a whole lot. It's not like this is just the foregone conclusion is what the list is going to be. There's just some names that CBS Sports came up with. Number 1, they got Arch Manning. So obviously you can tell right there, hype is kind of built into this as well, as Arch Manning hasn't played. He started a couple games last year, but hadn't started the whole season just yet, and they got him as the number 1 spot for being able to win the Heisman. So this is the college QB power rankings is what they have. Number 2 is the guy that I think is the best quarterback in college football, and that's Cade Klubnik over there at Clemson. Came out of Austin Westlake, I believe. Carson Beck, number 3, is who they have out of Miami. Drew Aller at 4. Sam Levitt out of Arizona State, who had a really good freshman year. Garrett Nussmeier down there in Baton Rouge for the LSU Tigers. Lenore Sellers, who I expect to have a really, really good season on a very talented South Carolina team that people are going to have to keep their eyes on in that SEC. Sawyer Robinson coming in at number 8. Behind him is Rocco Beck out of Iowa State, and then DJ Lagway, another Texas dude down there at Florida that's going to be getting a start this year. So Sawyer Robinson already starting to get some attention and gain some attention for the season that he had last year. Now he's going to have to cash in on that, and he's going to have to play well, which he was able to do last year for the Baylor Bears, who went 6-3 in the Big 12. Like I said, the way that they started their season, I was a little iffy. I was like, this is not looking too good as we start. That game against Utah did not give me much hope. Like I said, DeQuan Finn was still playing at that time. And the only teams that we had wins against were teams that were subpar competition, Tarleton State and Air Force. Though we started out the season 2-4, and I said from there, I was like, okay, this might be a wash of a season. Lost to Colorado and heartbreak right there at the end. And that's really where we started to see the Sawyer Robinson coming out party. He had a good game against Air Force, but everybody was like, it's Air Force. Then he plays against Colorado, and he really plays really well, especially in that first half. They played really well against Colorado. But they still lost that game. BYU, he plays great. BYU, he comes out and throws for over 300 yards in that game. But still lost the game. Very close game, came down to the end. Then they go to Iowa State and get blown out. So at that point, I'm like, okay, this is going to be a year for me. It's going to be tough watching these Baylor games. I'm still going to watch them, but it'll be tougher. Then Baylor starts to go on a run. Not only did they put together some wins, they win every game for the rest of the season until they get to their bowl game where they lost to LSU in the bowl game. But from there, they take out Tech, Oklahoma State, TCU, West Virginia, U of H, and Kansas. Took care of business. Large part of that was the play of Sawyer Robinson. As they move forward throughout that season, and they were able to take out a Tech and Oklahoma State. Robinson is putting up 200-plus yards every single game. Roberson is going out there throwing for 274, for 240, 330 against West Virginia. So we know what he can do as far as being the starting quarterback for the Baylor Bears. Now going in with some expectation, how is he going to play then? Now we've got some expectation out there for him. Now we've got, there's been talks of potential NIL deals made with Sawyer Robinson, which he would be deserving of, especially the way that he played last year. Now they're putting the Heisman expectations on him, and that's just CBS Sports. It's not like this is, the concrete fact of he's going to be a top candidate. This is just who they have of right now, CBS Sports putting that list out there. But I like it. I like Sawyer Robinson being right there. He had just as good of a season as Lenore Sellers. To me, Lenore Sellers has a lot more upside because he played as a freshman last year at a South Carolina team that really, really closed out strong. And Sawyer Robinson played just as good as those guys. Here's a stat. Sawyer Robinson, his 82.9 QBR is the best for a returning quarterback in the Power 4 conferences. Best QBR out of all the Power 4 conferences, that's the SEC, the ACC, the Big 12, and the Big 10. He's got the best QBR out of any returning quarterback that's coming back. So why not put him up there as a guy that could be a Heisman candidate? Why not put this Baylor team as a team that can win a Big 12 championship? I'll come out and say it early. I expect this team to be competing in that Big 12. We saw them be able to come out and compete last year. Why not pick them to be able to come out and compete this year? I think this Baylor team's got a great chance of being able to do that. They got some tough opponents next year to start off this season. I know last year we played Air Force and Tarleton State to start the year. Well, this year we got Auburn week 1. Auburn week 1 right at McLean Stadium. That's going to be a super fun game to be able to watch. Walker White will not be playing, but we know he just transferred over from Auburn into Baylor's quarterback room. But that's going to be a fun game to watch. I'm excited. They've got Jackson Arnold, I believe, who transferred from Oklahoma, the kid that came out of Denton Ryan a few years ago. Didn't have too great of a season at Oklahoma, but a change of scenery could be all the different result for him. He's going to be trying to prove himself just like Sawyer Robertson is going to be trying to prove himself out there for the Baylor Bears. So they start off their first 2 games against an Auburn team that even though they didn't have a great year, still the SEC, still know they're going to have a lot of talented guys on their team. And then right after that, they play a team that I think is one of the most talented teams in Texas, and that's SMU, led by their quarterback, Kevin Jennings, who was a state champion on the high school level, has played phenomenal, and he stayed right at home. A kid that was a state champion in soccer, he stayed right at home and went to SMU. And he's going to have a phenomenal season. He's a guy that was left out of that list, I believe, that they put together for Heisman. And I would definitely put him in over guys like Sam Levitt, over Garrett. Okay, I mean, Garrett Nussmeier, okay. Carson Beck for sure out of there. I will put Kevin Jennings in as a Heisman candidate over Carson Beck any day. Rocco Beck out of Iowa State, I can see it, but I will still put in Kevin Jennings over there. So Baylor's got some tough comp to start the season off. Auburn and SMU are no slouch. They're going to play Samford after that at home. Then they're going to open up Big 12 play against Arizona State, who won the Big 12. Now, I know Cam Scatterboo is not there and all that, so it's not going to be the exact same Arizona State team. But I just talked about Sam Levitt, who was a freshman last year and had a phenomenal season. So their first 5 games, no slouch at all. Auburn, SMU, Samford, and Arizona State, the first 4 games, of the season, no slouch at all. Now, with that being said, this is a very, very winnable schedule if you're looking at this as Baylor. Not saying that, obviously, we don't know what the Big 12 is going to look like. We think we know what it's going to look like every year, and they come in and flips. I remember half the people picking Oklahoma State as their Big 12 champion going into next year, and they didn't win a game in the Big 12. I think they ended up winning 1 game in the Big 12. You think about a Kansas State team, we know they're going to be really good. I think I know for a fact they'll have some good running back play. Dylan Edwards is there. They still got Avery Johnson down there as well, too. So Kansas State is going to be a good team. TCU is one of those teams you just don't know. Cincinnati, you just don't know. UCF had a good team last year, but they lose R.J. Harvey, who was their best player by far, in my opinion. They lose him. Utah, what are they going to look like? Their 30-year-old quarterback is no longer there in Cam Rising. Now that Zach Wilson's little brother, Isaac Wilson, who didn't look that great last year, but he was a freshman and just kind of got thrown into the fire. Not saying he can't get better. I'm just saying he didn't look that great last year. Then you got Arizona, no longer has T-Mac at receiver. Then you got a U of H team that's really struggling. So you look at those options for Baylor. Why can't Baylor be the Big 12 champ? Why can't we at least compete in order to get into that Big 12 championship game? I don't see why not. Arizona State's got to show me. Kansas State's got to show me. I think this Baylor team is going to have a chance to compete. When you think about Sawyer Robinson, how he's been playing, we just talked about him. You think about Bryson Washington, who's going to be the engine for this Baylor offense, in my opinion. When Baylor won those Big 12 or got to that Big 12 championship game, when they had that was led by running the ball. All of that was provided by running the ball. They got to get back to being a hard-nosed running the football team. I think that's when they have their most success. And that's kind of what they got back to last year. And a lot of that was due to Bryson Washington, another Centex product right out of Franklin High School. He played phenomenal in his freshman year last year. I think he's one of the best backs. He's one of the best backs coming back in the Big 12. You know, I respect DJ Giddings and Dylan Edwards of Kansas State for sure. R.J. Harvey's gone from UCF, so Cam Scatterboo's gone. Why can't Bryson Washington be that one of those top guys coming back? I'm interested to see what type of production they're going to get at the receiver position. They've got Josh Cameron coming back, who had a phenomenal year. Phenomenal year for Josh Cameron. And I expect him to be able to do big things as well. But they lost a lot of other guys at receiver, the Ketron Jacksons, the Hal Presley, the Monterey Baldwin. They lost a lot of their guys at receiver who can step up for those guys in this next wave of players outside of Josh Cameron. I think Michael Trigg is coming back, so I expect him to do good at tight end again. Once again, I like this Baylor offense. I like what Dave Aranda was able to do last year with his team, the confidence that he instilled in this team going down the stretch. After everybody counted them out, going 2-4, and you went out the rest of your schedule, that's got to do. Coaching is going to have a lot to do with that. Dave Aranda, I believe, did a really good job last year with this team and being able to coach this team up in a way to be able to compete. Now it's time for them to take that next step. Yes, he's been to a Big 12 championship game and had a lot of success in Coach Dave Aranda, but a lot of those guys were there when Matt Rule was there. So now we want to see you go out here with your guys and be able to win. Close out the season strong. Can you start the season strong? I don't see a game on their schedule that's not winnable. Auburn's in the SEC, okay, but they're not the big bad wolf of the SEC. This isn't Cam Newton coming out there. This is not even the Nick Marshall Auburn Tigers. It's an Auburn team that struggled last year. SMU, really good team. I think a team that Baylor can compete with. I think a team that Baylor can beat. Arizona State, Scatterboo had a lot to do with the success of that offense. Not saying that Sam Levitt didn't play good. I'm just saying I'm not scared of them without Scatterboo. Oklahoma State, that's just one of those you got to see. They didn't have nothing to judge them off of last year. You can't judge them off any of last year because it should be a completely different type of looking team coming into this year. If they're anything close to the same, Baylor will smash them. That just is what it is. So I'm excited about this season for Baylor. I'm gonna get more Baylor guys on here. We've had plenty of Baylor guys on the show already. But I'm gonna get more Baylor guys in here and see if we can start building up some more of this hype, man, because I'm excited to see what Baylor can do next year, especially after the schedule came out. I'm like, man, these are all very winnable games for the Baylor Bears. And going into most of these games, if not all of these games, going into most of these games, we got the best quarterback. And that's Sawyer Robinson. So I'm excited for this Baylor Bears team. I'm excited to see what Baylor can do this upcoming season on both sides of the ball. They've got a lot of guys coming back on both sides of the ball, even though they graduated some really good guys. They graduated the Steve Lintons and the Randolphs and the Matt Joneses out of that linebacking core, but they're still bringing some really good guys back as well. So I'm excited to see what they can do. You think about Bobby at safety. Think about Jenkins, a couple of other guys at corner. I like what Baylor can do going forward for this 2025 season. A lot of hype, a lot of expectations, at least right here on Centex Primetime. We're definitely hyped up to be able to watch this Baylor Bears team. Obviously, like I said, this team is going to be able to compete for a championship, not only in football, but I expect their basketball team to be really well. I know we're not talking about basketball too, but Baylor Sports doing a phenomenal job right now as well. And going back a little bit to MCC, we talked about both of their teams heading off to the finals, not to the finals, heading off to the national tournament and have a chance to compete. I got to give a shout-out to the athletic director and Coach Sean Trokum, who has done a phenomenal job in her tenure at MCC, obviously. But just because it's not Alabama or it's not Duke or one of these colleges does not mean that this isn't excellence that we're seeing from MCC. To have your teams competing in baseball and softball and both men and women's basketball every single year on the JUCO level, this is a phenomenal job being done. We're watching a masterclass on how to run a program when you talk about Coach Sean Trogan. So definitely shout out to her and a great friend of Centex Sports Network as well. This MCC team, I'm looking for both teams to be able to do some really big things. And we got to talk more going forward about it. The volleyball. MCC is bringing volleyball into the fold next year. So we'll talk more about that, and we'll get some MCC guys to come on here and be able to talk some more about that and just the sustained excellence that we've seen out of this program, especially since we've been covering them in 2020. And they've had success for 20, 30, 40 years. But since we've been around in 2020, we've got to witness firsthand the excellence of this program and how it's being run out there at McLennan Community College. Folks, we got to take one last break here on Centex Primetime. When we come back, got to talk about some quick takes and what's going on around the sports world. We got to talk a little bit of NFL as well. So stay tuned and stay locked in right here on Centex Primetime. We'll be right back after this short break.
This is why you need Centex Primetime. Jalen Gillis brings the realness. Dive into the heart of sports with the most passionate commentary around. From pro to high school, Jalen's got the insight and energy you crave. Catch all the action weekdays from 5 to 7 p.m. on the Centex Sports Network, only on YouTube. Join the conversation and elevate your sports knowledge with Centex Primetime. Don't miss it.
Need video or audio solutions? Lighthouse Streaming, a full-scale media agency, can transform any event. Check this out. We're talking live streaming that's crisp and clear, event audio that hits every note, and church video and audio solutions that'll enhance worship. Corporate events, we got those on lock too. From concerts to conferences, Lighthouse Streaming and audio makes your vision shine. Book your appointment now at lighthousestreaming.com or call 254-252-4206 for a free consultation. Let's elevate your event and light up the stage.
What's up, everybody? My name is Jalen Gillis. You may know me from Centex Sports Network. We're starting a new platform, Recruit 254. Our mission is to highlight the amazing student athletes of 254. So if you're in the Waco, Killeen, Temple, Mart, Marlin, or any surrounding 254 areas, follow this platform and join the movement. Recruit 254. 254, let's run it up.
My name is Emily Adams. I'm the marketing director for the Texas Asphalt Pavement Association. We are here at our third annual MAPS conference at the Waco Convention Center in beautiful Waco, Texas. I think the event has exceeded all of our expectations. We had an amazing turnout and great sessions and nothing but positive feedback. So this is our first conference in a convention center, and I'm used to working with hotels where there's like one person to talk to for everything. And so at the last minute, we realized we needed audio and video services. And so I contacted Lighthouse Streaming and Audio, and they were very quick to respond. They were able to, even though it was the last minute, they were able to fit us into their schedule, and they provided us with technicians and equipment to record our sessions, and we'll be able to provide the people who are speaking at those sessions with great video of themselves. I would highly recommend them. I highly recommend Lighthouse Streaming and Audio. I had nothing but a pleasant experience, and if we come back to Waco again, which we hope to do, I know I'll be in touch with them.
Hello, my name is Roy Gillis, CEO of Lighthouse Streaming, and you're watching Centex Sports Network.
This is why you need.
Hello and welcome back into Centex Prime Time. Jalen Gillis still here in the closing moments of the show here today. I want to thank everybody for watching with us here today on Centex Prime Time. We got a great week planned for you guys, a lot to be able to dive into. We got some more to talk about before we get out of here today, though. We just got done wrapping up talking about some local sports, talking about those Baylor Bears, man, and the football program, what I expect not only them to be able to do, but Sawyer Robertson and the expectations I have for him coming back as what I believe to be one of the best quarterbacks in the Big 12 coming in the next season. Talked about some high school sports as well, some of the guys that we expect to see do good on the football field in 2025 here in the Waco area. Also talked about Midway softball heading to the regional final game, I believe, in high school as they look to get further along and be able to compete for that state championship title in 6A. The 29-2 Panthers playing Flower Mound on Thursday evening, I believe. Also talked a little bit about MCC softball and baseball heading off to the national tournament. We got some quick takes here before we close out the show today, folks. First off, Caitlin Clark comes back with vengeance in her sophomore season to open up the season. They played against the Chicago Sky, and who the WNBA, and this is just me, I guess, saying this, the WNBA wants to be the rival of Caitlin Clark, and they want that smoke. They want to see the rivalry between Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark. Now I get it. Okay, you're saying Caitlin Clark has come into this. She's a pulverizing figure. She brings in numbers. Part of that is the rivalry she had with Angel Reese. I believe that social media kind of really blew that entire thing out of proportion. I never viewed these two as rivals, in my opinion. I didn't view them as rivals. Did it end up happening because of the tournament? Yes, but rivals is a stretch. I think more of a rival, and I heard Gilbert Arenas say this, for her is Paige Beckers, because those two were the ones competing when they were coming out of high school. Those two were two of the top guards at the same position competing coming out of high school. I believe they came out in the same class in 2020. They've been competing against each other in AAU. I think Caitlin Clark wanted to go to UConn really bad and didn't get that offer. And who did get the offer that year in that class was Paige Beckers. And that's not surprising. At that time, Paige Beckers was killing Caitlin Clark. That's why I wasn't shocked about what they were able to do, but that's why I picked them after Juju Watkins got hurt. Why I picked them to win a natty. Paige Beckers has been like that. If it wasn't for the injuries, we be looking at her like how we looked at Caitlin Clark. And she's still nice, and I'm going to be able to catch, and I hope I'm going to be able to catch some games now that she's a Dallas Wing. I want to be able to go out there and catch some of those games as well. But that is more of the rivalry. This forced narrative of a rivalry between Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark is already getting old, and it's very forced. As we saw in that game that they played against each other, they called a flagrant foul against Caitlin Clark when it looked like she said it was just a take foul, which is what it looked like, just a take foul. Angel Reese gets up and, comes back at her hard and all this kind of stuff. They call a flagrant foul on on Caitlin Clark. And, to me, the whole thing gets blown out of proportion, and we started to talk about that more than we talk about the game of Caitlin Clark, which is the reason why she got all this stardom. I know it started to become a race thing between her and Angel Reese as this went throughout, and, it was supposed to be the black people were supposed to cheer for Angel Reese, the white people were cheering for Caitlin Clark, all of this stuff. The main reason we started talking about Caitlin Clark first was her game. It's because she was killing everybody at Iowa. Now that she's on the fever, last year, a lot of the WNBA players had things to say whether it was good or bad, and were saying, she's a good player, but she's not going to come in and be the best player in this league. She's got to grow up and do all of this stuff when she comes to the league. And some of that was true. Some of it wasn't. She still had a really, really good rookie season, won Rookie of the Year. But to start off her sophomore season, she was trying to come out and make a statement of, okay, you guys got to say that last year. She's not one of the best players. This year, she's trying to prove she's one of the best players in the WNBA. Caitlin Clark started off her sophomore campaign, 20 points, 10 rebounds, 10 assists, 4 blocks, 2 steals. That's a dominant performance. If she continues to do that, which I think is exactly what she's going to do. She talked about in her summer offseason, her main thing was trying to get stronger. She's already thinking about the right things. I'm not coming out and just trying to work on my step back three. She's got that. We saw her do that again. She's trying to come out and be stronger so she can take some of these hits. We saw her get hit a lot last year in her rookie season. This year she's coming out taking that serious. 20 points, 10 rebounds, 10 assists, 4 blocks, 2 steals is no slouch to start the season. Do I think she's the best player in the WNBA? No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying she can be one of the best players in the WNBA this year. That's what I expect to see from Caitlin Clark. But the rivalry thing with her and Angel Reese, can we just kill that? Can we stop it? It's really not that much of a rivalry, in my opinion. We see the people that just like to hate, and they say, oh, Angel Reese is terrible and all this stuff. She's not terrible. But we also see the people on the other side of, oh, they just giving this to Caitlin Clark because she's white, and Angel Reese really better than her. That's just cap. Can we stop that? In my opinion, they're not even close. I think Caitlin Clark is way better than Angel Reese. That's just my opinion, though. That doesn't mean much, but that's just my opinion. I don't think it's because of that. So we can just kill this rivalry thing, man. It's not that big of a deal. Indiana is going to be competing in the playoffs again this year. Chicago is probably not going to be good again. They lost by almost 40. If I had any problem with the skirmish, whatever, I had a problem with Angel Reese. Why are you getting up that mad? Y'all down 40. That wasn't even that hard of a foul. How about score the ball? Y'all losing by 40, bro. Like, let's cut out all the fighting and stuff. So, yeah, man, that's my opinion on that. Caitlin Clark is a great player. Let's stop trying to force this rivalry thing. There's going to be a new NBA champion, like we talked about in the first hour of the show. New NBA champion this year. The question is, who is the biggest star left? Now that we're down the last 4 teams, we don't see Nikola Jokic. We don't see Kevin Durant. We don't see LeBron James. We don't see Steph Curry. We don't see Giannis. We don't see Joel Embiid. These are the guys we consider to be the top players in the league. None of them are in these final 4 teams. But we do got some new stars. We do got SGA. We do have Anthony Edwards, who's my favorite player left in this. We got a Brunson if you're a Knicks fan or if you're anywhere on the East Coast, he is a superstar. I don't see Brunson as a superstar in my opinion, but you can't tell that to a Knicks fan right now. And then you got Tyrese Halliburton for the Indiana Pacers, who was voted by his peers, by NBA players, the most overrated player in the league, but yet he is one of the last 4 teams left standing in the NBA. So who is that big star that's going to step up? To me, it's got to be SGA. I just don't think Anthony Edwards is ready for that at this moment. Can he prove me wrong? Yes. SGA has the best team left in these playoffs. I think he has the best chance to be able to step up and become that next star. But we're going to see a brand new Finals MVP this year, somebody we've never seen. We're going to see a brand new champion this year, somebody that's going to win that we haven't seen win before. That's what I like about this, the parity of the NBA playoffs right now and the entire NBA this year, and that's what we saw on both the East and the Western Conference. We saw parity throughout the league, and I'm enjoying being able to watch that so far. So a new star is going to be born in the NBA. I can't wait to watch and see who that is going to be. Nick Sirianni signs an extension with the Philadelphia Eagles. Nick Sirianni is an interesting guy. He's a guy that a lot of people either like or hate. He's got his moments where he looks like a genius. He's got his moments where the next day everybody's questioning the decision-making of Nick Sirianni. That includes last year that they won the Super Bowl. A lot of people were questioning some of his decision-making. So him getting this contract extension, I know is fulfilling for him, for the Philly fan base that's stuck behind him a lot of times, when we've even seen him arguing with the Philly fan base. You don't see a lot of people turning around and start arguing to their own fans. But we know Philly is a tough city, man. They're a tough city to succeed in. They're a tough city to have to be a coach in, have to be a player in, any of that, because the fans are tough. Sirianni's going to come back and say something, but I think that's why he's perfect for Philly. You got a coach that's not scared to not only go at the other team, he'll come back at you guys, at your own fan base, when you call him out and say something that you don't like about him. I like that about Sirianni. He's a Super Bowl winning coach now. People got to put more respect on his name. He's a top 10, if not top 5 coach in the NFL right now. I'll put him top 10 for sure. Top 5, I'd have to think about it. But I put him top 10 for sure as far as NFL coaches in the league right now. I'm putting Nick Sirianni on there. He gets rewarded and gets the new contract. Speaking of new contracts, this is one that we were waiting to see. Brock Purdy gets the big extension. He gets the big contract. 5 years, $265 million. Now, I have said this multiple times on this show. If they pay Brock Purdy that much money, this is the end of the 49ers run. So I'm doubling down on what I'm saying. This is the end of the 49ers run, in my opinion. Brock Purdy is not that guy. He's not a game changer, as Cam Newton would say. He is a game manager. You giving him $265 million is going to hurt your team because of the amount of cap space it's going to have to take up. When we know he's not a guy that can win with it being because of him. He can win when he's got C-Mac and when he's got George Kittle and Debo and Brandon Ayuk in a top 5 defense. But when your defense wasn't top 5 last year, when C-Mac didn't play last year, when Brandon Ayuk tore his ACL, when Debo wasn't playing good, what did the 49ers do? You know who did play? Brock Purdy played. What did they do? What did the 49ers do? Couldn't even make the playoffs in a division that's not scary. No one's looking at the NFC West as a scary division. I think the Rams are pretty good. The Cardinals are up and coming. Seahawks, I don't know what to think of the Seahawks right now, actually. I think they're pretty mid. 8-8 type of team. So they're not like they're in a scary division. You still weren't able to make the playoffs. Brock Purdy getting this contract, I get it, and I definitely think he deserves it. I don't think that he shouldn't get paid. I think he deserves it, just not for the 49ers if they want to keep winning. He did go to a Super Bowl. He did play at an all-pro level one year. But we saw last year when he doesn't have all the weapons, what is he going to do? When a guy shows you he's not the guy, I'm not giving him $265 million. It's that simple. The 49ers, this entire run has been built on cheaper, mid-level quarterback play, and the rest of the team is gonna kill. The rest of the team is going to be stacked. The defense is going to be stacked. Offensive line is going to be stacked. They're always going to have good running backs. They had good receivers this whole run. Now when you're flipping that philosophy and we're going to build around the quarterback instead of building a team and trying to fit a quarterback in there, I think that's going to take away from their team's success. Because your whole philosophy was Jimmy Garoppolo has never been a top 10 quarterback. But we got top 10 guys at almost every other position. Brock Purdy, some people consider him a top 10 quarterback. I don't consider him a top 10 quarterback. But you were still able to have success because of the other guys around him. Now, Brock Purdy is going to have to be one of those guys, not just one of them. He's going to be the main guy. C-Mac is coming to the end of it. He's getting older. He's been injury prone most of his career. Last year, didn't even play. Played one game and got hurt again, out for the season. Brandon Ayuk was going to be coming off a torn ACL, a guy that I think they didn't deserve to get that much money. Not from the Niners. So now you've overpaid for Purdy. You've overpaid for Brandon Ayuk. Two guys that we still don't know if they can perform like that. Not consistently. Debo's gone. He's a Commander. You're going to have to get some really good production out of some guys. I like the pick in the draft. I like Michael Williams out of Georgia. Obviously, I think was one of the best players in the draft. Him going on the other side of Nick Bosa. I think that'll be good. But on the offensive side, man, I don't know about that. I don't know about that one, Shanahan. I don't know about that one, John Lynch. $265 to a mid quarterback to me is a lot of money, and I think it could kind of throw off the way that this team is built. Add along with that, they pay a guy who 1,000% deserves this money, and Fred Warner. He gets an extension, a 3-year contract extension for $63 million. It's the opposite of my take with Brock Purdy for this one. This is a guy that I consider the best linebacker in football. Fred Warner is definitely deserving of that contract extension, becomes the highest paid linebacker in the league, as he should be the highest paid linebacker in the league. He's been the best linebacker in the league for the last couple of years, in my opinion, especially if we're talking about inside linebacker play. Been one of the best linebackers in the league. So Fred Warner gets that extension as well, but now Warner's got an extension. He's got a big contract. Dre Greenlaw is gone. I still think Warner will be able to hold that down. Bosa's got a big contract. Purdy's got a big contract. Brandon Ayuk's got a big contract. C-Mac's got a big contract. Trent Williams got a huge contract, and he's at the very tail end of his career. A lot of other guys are going to have to step up and perform. A lot of other guys are going to step up and perform for this 49ers team. I still think Kyle Shanahan is one of the better coaches in the league. I still think Lynch is one of the best GMs in the league. But a lot of those others are going to have to come out and prove it this year in order for these moves to be valid. And that's going to start with Brock Purdy, the quarterback that you paid $265 million. So we'll see a lot of expectations in the NFL this upcoming year. Want to look at some notable matchups and some rematches that we get to see in 2025 in this new NFL season. We're going to get to see Kansas City versus Philly once again. That should be another really good game. Obviously, we're going to get Philly versus the Commanders. The Commanders are an interesting team. I'm hoping that this is not a team that we're going to see going to a sophomore slump. When nobody has any expectations for you, it's never easy to win in the NFL. But when no one has expectations for you, it's easier to win in the NFL. Now Jaden Daniels goes from the guy of, man, we can't believe how good this dude really is, to, hey, man, you better perform or else. It switches on you very quick in the NFL. Watched it with Lamar Jackson. It went from, man, look how good this dude is playing, to why can't he win? We're going to do the same thing to Jaden Daniels very soon. We did it to Jalen Hurts. He came out playing phenomenal when he first started playing for Philly. Had some down years, and they said this guy can't get it done. Happened to Dak. Happens to every quarterback. So we're going to see it with Jaden Daniels this year on the Commanders. Can he come out and perform under those expectations? It's one thing to do it when no one cares, when no one expects anything. The Commanders were number 2 pick in the draft for a reason. Thought they were going to be sorry again, and you're able to outperform that. Now everyone expects you to be the second best or best team in the NFC East. They expect you to be better than the Cowboys. But you're going to come out there and prove it. Because as much as we talk about the Cowboys on here, the Cowboys' offense is going to have to be dealt with. They built out that offensive line even more now. They've added some running backs in there. Somebody will be able to get it right. Between Miles Sanders, Javonte Williams, Jaden Blue, somebody will be able to get it right. I don't know who the somebody is, but it'll be better than what they had last year. CD's one of the best receivers in the league. You put that on with a man-child on the other side and George Pickens, that offense is going to have something to say. But defensive-wise, we'll see. I think their defense has made improvements. I have to see how it goes this year with them because they were so awful last year on the defensive side of the ball. But everyone's expecting the Commanders to be better than them. They've got to go out there and prove it. And they got a tough division to go out there and prove it in. You got Philly twice. You got Dallas twice. I'm not even going to say anything about New York because I expect New York to be terrible again. Even though I really, really like the defensive line and I hate that they're so bad, and then they draft another stud like Abdul Carter to go on that defensive line, If the Giants do win any games, that'll be the only reason why. Their defensive line play is crazy. Brian Burns, Kayvon Thibodeau, Dexter Lawrence, who I think is right there for the best inside lineman in the league. Like an absolute problem. Right up there with Chris Jones and those other guys. I think Dexter Lawrence is right there with Quentin Williams, all of those guys. Dexter Lawrence is right there for best D tackle in the league. Then you add an Abdul Carter to go with that. That's the only reason I can see the Giants having any success. But for the most part, I don't see them having no success, man. Shout out Malik Neighbors. I love Malik Neighbors as a young receiver. But, I mean, I don't expect Russell Wilson to do anything more than what he did in Pittsburgh last year, which was nothing. I love Jameis, but I don't see Jameis, by the time he has to get in, he's not going to be able to do much. If Jackson Dart has to play one snap, they're cooked. I wasn't that thrilled about Jackson Dart as a quarterback, even though I think he had the best NFL combine out of all the quarterbacks. And I said after the combine right here on the show, he's going to be that guy that they picked to go in the first round. I knew once they anoint that guy as the next dude, he's going to go in that first round regardless, and that's what we saw with Jackson Dart. But if he has to play this year, they're cooked. I don't see the Giants doing much. NFC East is going to be loaded and filled with a lot of talent as well. We're going to see Mahomes versus Josh Allen once again. Josh Allen won MVP last year over Lamar, even though I don't think he should have won MVP. I think they just got tired of voting for Lamar Jackson. He still won it nonetheless. He's got a lot to prove coming out this year, still. We'll see Buffalo play against Lamar again in the Baltimore Ravens. Going to see the Packers and the Eagles once again. Those are some really fun matchups to be able to watch. So there's some fun matchups coming up in the league this year as far as this regular season schedule goes. Talked last week about the tough start that the Eagles have in their division, and how some people were projecting them to go 2-3, 1-4, which I think that's crazy. But they do have a really tough start to their season. Want to look at some of these divisions within the NFL and take just a really quick look at some of the guys that we like seeing coming out on top before we get off here in the show. Obviously, I'll start in the AFC. In the East, it's still Buffalo. Buffalo's still a team. The Jets, no idea what they're going to do. Even though I think the Patriots are going to be a lot better. Patriots are one of my sleeper teams. If they get consistent play out of Drake May, he doesn't have to light it up. But if he can just not turn the ball over and play consistently, man, the Patriots spent a lot of money in the offseason. I like Mike Vrabel as a coach, and I think they got a lot of talent on both sides of the ball. I think they have a lot of talent. And I haven't been able to say that about New England in years, especially on the offensive end. I feel like they always pick some guys on the defensive end that can play. On the offensive end, I never felt like they had a lot of talent. This year, I think they actually got some pretty good talent coming in to this year. So I'll be excited to watch them play. But Buffalo's still those top guys in the AFC East for sure. On the AFC North side, this is always a toss-up division. Cleveland, I don't see them doing much, even though they got Shador. I know all of that stuff. We don't even know if Shador is going to play this year. I don't see the Cleveland Browns doing much. The Bengals are one of those teams we just don't know. Like Stephen A. loves to say, they start out the season terrible every single year, but it's the truth. So we just don't know what we're going to see from them. Pittsburgh, who was the quarterback? Who was the quarterback for Pittsburgh? And this is a make-or-break year for Mike Tomlin, in my opinion. I do think Mike Tomlin can go somewhere else and have a lot of success. But this might be a hot take. I think this is Mike Tomlin's last year in Pittsburgh. I think this is his last year in Pittsburgh, and we know they don't like to change coaches. I know that they had 3 coaches in franchise history. I get it. But Mike Tomlin's run has been good, but at times feels overinflated. Yes, he's got his team in the playoffs every year. They never have a losing season. But the one Super Bowl that he has was with all the last guy's players. James Harrison and all those guys were on the team already. Ben Roethlisberger was on the team that won in 2005. Since you've been out and getting your players, drafting your guys, no championships. Not much playoff success. Haven't won a playoff game since 2016. It's almost been a decade. So I love Mike Tomlin as a coach. Still one of the best coaches in the league to me. But his time in Pittsburgh is coming to an end, in my opinion. And with the way that they've handled this quarterback situation, not only not drafting Shador, but you didn't take Jackson Dart. You didn't even take the Tyler Shook guy. I don't even think he can play, but you didn't take him. You took Will Howard, the only guy that was out there at the combine missing against wide open air. You missing passes thrown against air. No defenders, no pass rushers, just you, a ball, and a receiver, and you're missing guys. That's the guy you drafted. You brought Mason Rudolph back, which is just like, okay, whatever. Skylar Thompson's on the team. He didn't do anything in Miami. He had plenty of opportunity to show if he could play in Miami with plenty of weapons. And he wasn't good, so obviously he can't play. What are they doing at quarterback? That's why I can't pick Pittsburgh to do anything in this division. Sure, they'll go 8-8 again. Okay, they'll win 9 games. Who cares? Baltimore's still the big dogs in that division, in my opinion. Looking at the AFC South, of course I'm going to pick my Texans. Why would I say anything else? Even though I think this could be a very competitive AFC South this year. Indianapolis, if they find a way to get Anthony Richardson together, they'll be good. That just is what it is. They got Michael Pittman, who's really good. They were able to snag a good tight end in the draft this year. A guy that I thought was going to be the first tight end taken in Tyler Warren. Michael Pittman's already out there. Anthony Richardson, if he can play decent, they'll be good. Jonathan Taylor's still there in the backfield. They still got some guys on the defensive end. They'll be pretty good. Jacksonville, it's a make or break year. It's a make or break year. And I've seen on the internet people breaking down some of Travis Hunter's film and saying, man, he doesn't know how to run simple routes. He's just been going off athleticism this whole time. And his routes don't look crispy right here. And I'm looking at the film. First off, it's random practice footage. Second, I watched y'all do the same thing with Jamar Chase just a couple of years ago. Y'all said Jamar Chase couldn't catch the football. He was dropping the ball. He just won a Triple Crown. His routes weren't crisp. He's just an athlete. Well, how did that work? He's the best receiver in the NFL. So let's stop with it. I talked about last week everybody overanalyzing every single step that Shedeur takes. Now we're going to do it with Travis and say, oh, he can't be a real receiver. He's not running these routes crisp. Can we wait till they put pads on and start playing against other grown men before we figure out can these guys play or not? And not just analyze them in T-shirts and shorts running against air. They're not even playing against nobody. Let's give these dudes some time, man. But AFC South will be competitive. AFC West is going to be the most competitive division in the AFC. Kansas City, Los Angeles, and Denver. I don't see the Vegas Raiders doing anything. I seen a Bleacher Report put out some predictions for the season and had them going. We're getting like 8 games. I don't know how in the world you think the Raiders are going to win 8 games. I don't see that happening at all. I mean, I know they got Geno Smith and Ashton Genty and Brock Bowers. I think that's enough to win 8 games in this division. You got to play Denver twice. Denver is my sleeper team for the whole AFC. I think Denver has a really, really strong chance of winning this division. And, yes, I know this is Mahomes' era, and they've won the AFC West like 8 years in a row, and we're coming off Kansas City going to the Super Bowl and going 15-2. That's crazy. But, and I think this could be the year Denver knocks them off the throne. Them getting Jahdae Barron was a huge move. Not only getting Jahdae Barron, I like their first 3 or 4 picks. They get R.J. Harvey in the second round, a guy that I love coming out of UCF. They get the Bryant kid out of Illinois, big receiver, going to be huge for them. I like this team. The defense was already killer last year, and you add a couple more killers to go along with it. I think Denver's going to be that team that wins the AFC West. Real quick, look at the NFC. NFC East, I think it's still Philly. Philly's still those top guys, in my opinion. This is obviously a very early list on who I think will win. We haven't even been through OTAs yet. Philly's still those top dogs in the NFC East, and we just talked about the NFC East. And the NFC North, until Detroit gets knocked off, I gotta say Detroit. Green Bay is going to be really good again next year. Minnesota, I don't know, because I don't know if J.J. McCarthy can play football or not. We haven't seen it yet. Till I see it, that'll be when I believe it. J.J. McCarthy had to come prove it to me. I mean, it's tough for me to say a guy's going to be good when you were throwing 15 passes a game in college and won a national championship. Then you don't even play last year in your rookie year. So we still got to see that. NFC North, I still got Detroit as those top dogs. The NFC South, probably the most open division. New Orleans is going to be sorry again. Carolina will be better than last year, but they'll be sorry again. Atlanta is the team that I want to win because I like Michael Penix. I like B.J. Robinson. Those guys, but I still think it'll be Tampa Bay. Baker Mayfield. It was surprising to me they drafted a receiver in the first round because they've already got a lot of receivers. but they went and got Mbuka, who was a great talent. So he just adds to this explosive offense already. They hit last year in the draft on Bucky Irvin out of Oregon at running back to pair him with Rashad White. This is going to be a good offense once again, so I like Tampa Bay in that division. And lastly, in NFC West, I got to take the Rams again. They bring Matt Stafford back for a reason. I still think Matt Stafford is one of the best quarterbacks in the league. He can still play at a really high level, so I still think the Rams are those guys. 49ers obviously were the big bad wolf in the NFC West over the last few years. Can they make some noise in the West? For sure. They possibly could win it. But I got to see how some of these other guys are going to come out here and play, especially now when you're putting all that onus and all of that attention on the Brock Purdy now that you got a $265 million contract. How are you going to play? It's one thing when you're the underdog. Now with $265 million, we expect you to win us some games. How is he going to do in that? So that's what I'm excited to be able to watch this year. Folks, we're out of time here today on Centex Primetime. We're going to be back here tomorrow, same time, same place. We'll have some more of the fellas to jump on the show with us as we'll break down some more of these topics in sports, the local ones and the national ones as well here on Centex Primetime. I want to thank everybody for watching. As always, subscribe to the YouTube, Centex Sports TV over on YouTube. Also, you can follow me on Instagram at Jalen Gillis. You can follow the show at Centex Primetime as well. You can see the ticker down there at the bottom. Signing off here today is Jalen Gillis. We will see you guys back here tomorrow, same time, same place. We'll see you then. Everybody have a great evening.